everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And it's time for part 6 of the 4th annual multi-topic extravaganza. Today, Vince and I are going to answer more of your questions. Vince, we've got tons more questions, tons of stuff. A bunch of people have been asking things as we've been going along, so we're going to do something I tend to do sometime during the multi-topic extravaganza, which is we're going to start at the end and work our way somewhere toward the middle now. So some of you folks that have most recently asked questions are now going to get some of your questions answered, and we have, as always, not looked at these at all, so this is going to be completely cold and off the cuff and the first thing that pops into our heads, so if the answers aren't that great, blame the format. Anyway, that's what we're doing today, multi-topic extravaganza. There's going to be at least one more of these. This is
I hate you, Times New Roman.
This is already the most we have. That's a font, Vince. Not a font.
I hate you, MLA. Chicago style.
Anyway, but that's a great kind of pizza. Anyway, so this is already the most videos we've ever committed to the multi-topic extravaganza, but tons of questions, and we've really been enjoying these. You guys have been really insightful and interesting, and come up with lots of things to really make us kind of rack our brains and think. And
I get tired of those outsightful people.
Those people. Anyway, all right. Here.
It's like, all right, moving on.
All right, so our first question for today is from Joaquin Morgan. Mogren. Do you think that the Bat family is too big? I think Bruce should open up his own orphanage, then secretly train the orphans all to be Batgirls and Robins, so that whenever one dies, they can easily replace them with another orphan without waiting a few years. Also, what do you think of superhero families in general? Do you think they're too gimmicky, or that they're a good idea? Go ahead, Vince.
That's hilarious. Bat orphanage. Oh my gosh, I love that idea.
It's overseen by Batman Inc. It's the Batman Inc. orphanage.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having sidekicks grow up and do other things. I mean, I do like the idea of having a Bat family. I don't like the idea of everybody being in Gotham. I like the idea that somebody will kind of make their start in Gotham and then move elsewhere and establish something there. And I'd rather it not have to be Batman Inc., but rather Batman inspired and Batman approved. You know what I mean? And
I'm just imagining a product line, Batman approved.
It's just a big stamp, Batman approved. I like the idea of superhero families depending on the conceit.
Red Robin is Batman approved.
I love the Red Yum. I like the idea of Shazam or a Captain Marvel family, the Marvel family. I like that idea where he has to share the powers, thereby blah blah happens, yada yada. I don't like the idea of a Superman family. And
oh, really? Okay.
I don't mind the idea of Superman history, but, you know, I always kind of liked it. The last survivor, or the only survivor of Krypton. Well, it's not true at all anymore.
No.
There's lots and lots of Kryptonians.
For a long time, yeah.
And, I don't know, it kind of makes me sad that the original idea is gone, but, oh well.
That's totally fair, yeah. Well, and I mean, God, I could jump on any of those and we could make a whole video.
I mean, but the symbolism is thereby erased.
I think a lot of people go against the sidekick and family idea now because they think it's unrealistic. Because it would be wrong to take children into battle, and it would be impractical and all that kind of stuff. I like sometimes potentially the family dynamic, especially with something like you said with Captain Marvel, where it's kind of by design, it's by necessity. They come up with a way that it has to be that way because with kind of the shared power motif and stuff. But with Batman, I think the way it's usually been handled is Batman doesn't want a sidekick, and then somebody comes in and kind of forces him or herself on Batman, and then it ultimately just makes too much sense within the context of the situation for him to have the sidekick, because like that person brings too much to the table. They're too, and I mean, like, or at least that's supposed to be the idea. Certainly that can be really contrived and that sort of thing. But anyway, so first of all, the orphanage idea is hilarious. Obviously, that's kind of tongue in cheek. You wouldn't really want that because that would seem horrible. But it's hilarious. But I see why you're saying it, because we're so used to Robin's getting replaced. But I think the idea is supposed to be that Batman never expects to replace one. It just always happens that way. You know what I mean? And so they have to keep coming up with excuses to have new Robins. That's what it is. And that's because you've got a fan base that loves Robin. I mean, like that's a staple. It's been there since 39 or 40, we've always had it, so you can't have Batman without Robin. Well, why don't you just keep one around for 40 or 50 years and not have to kill them, not have to get rid of them, that sort of thing, and then you wouldn't have this problem. But then on the flip of that, it is kind of fun to see different people in Mantle and what happens with them. So I don't know. I'm not super opinionated about this. For me, it just, if the stories are good, the stories are good. But is the Bat family too big? I'm with you. Let's not have. They don't have to all be in the same place. I like most of the characters in the Bat family, so I can't say it's too big. But I do think that it is problematic if we expect readers to know everything.
Yeah,
that's it. So just, as long as the story you're telling, there's enough of an explanation for who these characters are, and they carry us through it without also being irritating to people that do know stuff where everything's recapped. It's a difficult balance. You see what I'm saying? But yeah. Once you've got a history where you've had 6 or 7 or 20 different Robins, it does get kind of complicated to keep track of them all. It's like, well, now if you want to read Batman and you want to understand who all these characters are, especially when they're all together, like there's a story being told Batman and Robin right now where they're kind of all there. Well, if you pick that up and you don't know anything about Batman, you're like, okay, I don't know who this Red Hood guy is. I don't know who Red Robin is. Was he ever a Robin? Well, not in 52 apparently. And then Dick Grayson is allegedly dead but not dead, and Batman knows that he's not dead, but everybody else thinks he's dead. And so I mean, like,
so he's undead?
It's very no. He's alive, but he's got a book right now called Grayson. He's not Nightwing right now. He's operating as a spy, and he's faked his death.
That's kind of lame.
But anyway, the book's okay, believe it or not. Good. But it's very soap opera-ish, and Batman has gotten almost as complicated as X-Men at this point, in a way. You see what I'm saying? So the answer to that question is, well, it's complicated.
It depends.
I like that question a lot. Gohan Grayson, what do you think of the Batman Beyond comics, and what is your favorite show in the DCAU? I was really into the Batman Beyond comics when they started. I have fallen off of them because I didn't like the digital first format. I didn't like when they would put out a book and a 22-page comic, and they had 3 chapters of different stories running through that book, so you only got 8 pages of a story each month for each story. Couldn't keep up with it. It just was not enough happening at once. I'll go back and get those in trade. I actually recently bought a trade from, I think, just before Beechin left. I don't remember. I'll have to look at that. But anyway, the Batgirl Beyond trade. I got that, and I haven't read it yet. But anyway, so I'm going to go back to those. Vince hasn't read that stuff. Nope. So, as far as favorite show,
not opposed to it.
Favorite show in the DCAU. I mean, it's animated Batman. It's hard to really get beyond that. For me. But I mean, I like all of them for different reasons, and
I have
different degrees.
3 that I have difficulty picking between.
Oh, really? Okay.
Batman, Batman Beyond, and Superman. And Superman just hits me in a place because there's so much of that stuff that has such a sense of humor, whereas a lot of the Batman doesn't. And that's what I like about that. About the Bruce Timm Superman, anyway. I would almost lean towards Superman because it's more fun to watch.
Which is kind of surprising coming from you because you're not a Superman fan.
I just like that cartoon.
It is a really good cartoon. Wow.
Like, especially the episode...
I'm actually proud to sit next to you right now. That's
especially the episode where Lobo keeps getting knocked through Lex Luthor's building. Somebody keeps getting knocked through. Superman, Lobo, whatever.
That show was great because it kept the last Son of Krypton thing intact, and so we got it from that lens. I mean, later on they kind of do some Kryptonian stuff, but I mean, like at least for a while, you do kind of get that, and I don't know, I do kind of miss that kind of classic Superman. It's supposed to be an immigrant story. It's supposed to be a stranger in a strange land story. So you want him to explore his origins. I guess I'm just bringing this up because you brought it up earlier and I didn't say anything about it, and then was suddenly giddy to talk about that. But then I was like, oh, but I have to answer the Batman question. But yeah, I mean, you want to explore, you want to have him explore some of that Kryptonian stuff. But do Superman stories have to be Kryptonian stuff all the time? And then the problem for me is, I get what Superman's supposed to be, but then I love Krypton. So I always get kind of conflicted with should he be the last son of Krypton or not, because I love Krypton stuff, but to get it with the classic version, so you see what I'm saying? I love both. To get it from the classic version, you have to do flashbacks.
Yeah, I'd rather have Krypton on Krypton. You know what I mean? I'd like to know more about what happens on Krypton before it exploded. I'd like to see the Krypton stories, and more than just a single novel or whatever. And
to be fair, that's one of the things 52 has really gotten right, is they've given us lots of that.
Oh, good. And I just haven't been reading any DC at all. That's not back issues.
I mean, I'll give you some stuff. I've been keeping up with quite a bit of Superman, and it's. I mean, a lot of it's solid. A lot of it's weird, but a lot of it's solid. Robert Emmett, Captain Vince, would you consider the Doctor from Doctor Who a superhero? He has all the secret identity, costume, and superpowers in his intellect, longevity, and regeneration, and he saves the day. He even has a revolving door of sidekicks. Also, who is your favorite Doctor and why?
You make a terrific point. I mean, sure, why not? It could be a superhero. It could be a because Time Lords aren't people.
I think it is so hard to draw the line in a lot of places, right? I mean, you and I have had arguments about whether or not the Ghostbusters can be considered superheroes. I did a whole thing with RoboCop about how RoboCop's a superhero. A lot of folks disagree with me on that because he's a cop, but I thought kind of all that more was there.
Cops could be heroes and they're super.
But also RoboCop goes rogue. He goes off on his own, and the whole thing with him is the system gets corrupted. So the only way he can prevail with true justice is to go against the system. So isn't he kind of a superhero because he's having to be a vigilante, even though his vigilantism is what real law ought to be? That was my whole argument.
Fair enough.
And I think that's really cool.
Kind of a Dirty Harry thing going on.
I never considered it really with the Doctor. I think a lot of those tropes are there. I think the difficulty is that superhero is a really generic concept now. Where you know, a superhero is simply a hero that has powers, and what is a hero? And usually superheroes don't make money, so like it would be so a lot of that, and that's why I was kind of against the idea of the Ghostbusters being superheroes, just because they do what they do for monetary compensation. It's not that they don't care, but they also are trying to make a living. Mm-hmm. So it seems like they're almost by definition not really a superhero in that sense. But then you look at the Doctor, and what he does is for the sake of adventure. And he's not really going around to save the galaxy, but then it happens a lot, right? Like it's more he's just traveling, but then on the flip side, there's a lot of mysterious stuff of what's his motivation really for traveling space and time.
Because it seems like he goes places because he knows he's gonna find danger, and then try to he goes places.
The TARDIS knows something, or I mean.
Like, I think he knows that he wants to save humanity. He just kind of... The reason he goes to the places that he goes is he has fun. And if danger shows up, then danger shows up and he deals with it. But, yeah, I'm with you. It's a superhero, I guess. If the Turtles can be superheroes, so can the Doctor.
I suppose, but the difference is the Ninja Turtles came out of superhero tropes in the first place. Like the Turtles were invented to be in that genre. You know, I mean, like the Doctor really wasn't. I think it's a lot of happy accidents, right? Like, I guess what I'm saying is you could make a case, but it's certainly not intended that way.
Yeah. I mean, there's the idea of this. It's almost Shadow-esque to have that female companion that just follows you around everywhere. So I don't know. I'm with you, but I understand the argument against it.
Yeah.
Favorite Doctor? I want to say Eccleston.
That used to be mine. It's not anymore. It's most certainly the guy after him now. Tennant, yeah.
David Tennant, right?
Yep.
I always get it confused. It's either David or Daniel. I think it's David.
It's David Tennant. Johnny Torch. Hi, Captain Vince. I'm a big fan of Popeye, especially the 1980 film starring Robin Williams. How do you feel about that film and character in general, and do you think a new live-action film would be a good idea today? I've been hearing something about a Popeye thing supposed to happen. I don't know if it's a movie or a comic book or what it is, but there's some Popeye thing that's supposed to happen pretty soon. But anyway, I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, so I can't really comment on it anymore. I just don't remember it.
I saw the movie when I was a teenager at some point, and I have fond memories. I like it quite a lot, but I haven't seen it. I mean, again, like Cap, I haven't seen it in forever, so I can't really say whether it's good or bad. I'll say that I enjoyed it when I saw it.
That was an 80? I thought that was later than that.
I don't know. It looks like an older movie based on the film quality.
Oh, did he? Yeah, he said 80. Boy, I thought it was. Wow, I thought that was a lot later than that.
And then, and also, at this point, since Robin Williams has passed, I wouldn't want to do it so soon. But let me see. What was the other thing he asked? Oh, yeah, a remake, or not a remake, excuse me. Another film interpretation. I don't know that I care to see it. I wouldn't mind having a new cartoon series and see
I don't.
That first.
We got that in live action once. That's not a thing that needs to be continually done in live action. But there's no reason not to do more cartoons. Potentially.
I went to a bar at one point. Just walked in. There was this girl on stage playing that "He Loves Me, He Loves Me, He Loves Me." That song. It's a good song. I liked it.
5 Keeper 7 Full.
Giant harp.
Cap. What do you want to see in the first solo film with Ben Affleck? This would obviously take place after Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. I think it should be based on the novel Serious House on Serious Earth, a.k.a. Arkham Asylum. Wouldn't it be a clever way to fully reintroduce the Batman in his Gotham City? We are already meeting him as a veteran crime fighter in this universe. Well, as I always say, just hoping for more fun comic stuff that they probably wouldn't have done in the Nolanverse, and it's pretty obvious that they're doing something a lot more stylized and a lot more, kind of comic book with him. So, just some rogues that we haven't gotten to see yet, or some, really vastly different interpretations. I still want a serious Riddler. I know that was really the go-to thing to say for, a sequel after Dark Knight before we knew about Bane and Catwoman. But, I still want to see, a somewhat more serious rendition of the Riddler, and some kind of, the thing is, they obviously are going to keep ramping things crazy up in that universe. I don't think we're going to get a DC animated film that doesn't have, like, skyscrapers falling. I just get this feeling that most of them are going to be like that. So, now's the time for Clayface. Now's the time for characters like that, I think.
They're not going to do it, but I would love to see the kind of horror version Killer Croc one. I've been saying that for a while, but I would love to see that.
I think if you did Killer Croc, he would have to be in a movie with other bad guys probably, but I don't know why you couldn't do, I always complain about kind of the old two-villain formula, but I don't know why you couldn't do a Batman movie that had like a bunch of villains. Because Batman ends up having to fight a lot of villains.
I mean, especially if it's Arkham Asylum and there's a bunch of them there already. You just do some of the ones that are a little less colorful and need a little less background.
Would not surprise me at all if they went there, considering how popular the Arkham games have been and stuff like that. I mean, like that thing has been a powerhouse. It's been almost like movies itself. So, it would not surprise me at all if they went to something like that. Let's see here. TOA Horde Ica 6. How have you read any Buffy the Vampire Slayer and or Angel comics? If so, which ones do you like, dislike, and why? And what is your overall opinion of them? I'm currently reading season 10. I've read bits and pieces of 8 and 9, and I just dropped off of each of those. 10 right now is just smashing. It's fantastic. Angel and Faith, not as good as Buffy right now, in my opinion. I loved Angel and Faith at the beginning of season 9, and then the creative team I think swapped. And so that would explain why Buffy is now a little bit better than Angel and Faith. But the Buffyverse right now, the whole new rules thing, the Magic having an entirely new set of rules, and then Giles being like a 12-year-old, and there's some cool stuff going on. It's really interesting. I've also read some of Angel After the Fall, which was published by IDW before the license went to Dark Horse, and of course that's all I think kind of out of continuity now. But some of that I liked quite a bit. And I especially like the art in that book. But yeah, so I've read quite a bit. And I've read a little bit of Spike stuff here and there, stuff like that. So I would really recommend 10 right now. I think it's pretty jump-onable, especially if you just, go back to the beginning of 10, even if you didn't read 8 and 9. And, 8 is a little slow going, but then there's some really cool stuff. I think trade 3 or 4 with Faith that's really, really worth reading, even on its own, if you just get that trade.
I read the Buffy, not the remake, excuse me. I read the comic book interpretation of the original Whedon script.
Yeah, we've reviewed that.
And I didn't think it was different enough from the movie. I kind of want to know what the script's all about. I'd like to see that.
That's what I have with it, yeah.
Because the comic book was astonishingly like the movie. So, moving on. Oh, yeah, and After the Fall, I read the first volume. I think you let me borrow it. It was pretty good. I didn't have much else to say. It didn't leave much more of an impression on me than that.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Batman kicks ass. What's your favorite thing about Paul Dini's? I never get to say that.
I just thought that was a statement. Like, Batman kicks ass. Thanks.
Moving on. Well, I agree with that. Captain Vince, how do you feel about... Oh, I'm sorry. Going back. What is your favorite thing about Paul Dini's take on Batman and his world?
I haven't been reading much, so that's all you, bub.
Well, I mean, Paul Dini did a whole bunch with the animated series. Much of, and that's mostly what people are usually talking about when they're talking about Paul Dini. I mean, like that's. That stuff had a huge impact. I mean, the obvious thing to say would be I guess, Harley Quinn or you know, Heart of Ice or whatever.
And that version of Clayface was super cool. It's
one of those things where if I went back and looked into things again and reminded myself of stuff, I'd probably be like, oh wait, no, that's my favorite thing. So yeah, I don't know. I just like Paul Dini's writing in general. You know, my cop-out answer at this point probably would actually be Arkham City, because I like where he took a lot of his old animated series ideas and then did them in more, you know, kind of brought them to kind of contemporary adult stuff. And just, I don't know, I get giddy just thinking about what he did with that.
It was pretty neat. My deep innermost thoughts there. Pretty neat.
Pretty neat. Yeah, exactly. Where are we at? Johnny5222, hey Captain Vince, how do you feel about Thor turning into a woman in Marvel? Will it work? Can we please get it first? Can we like? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to you, but can we get it before I have to decide if that's a good idea or not? People have lost their minds over this. Just read Aaron's Thor, and you won't feel that way. Like, because you know, I've been keeping up with that book, and if you read his first couple arcs and you realize the kind of hot button issues that he likes to tackle in that book, gender roles is the very next thing that makes the most sense for him to tackle. It's not a gimmick. It's not. I mean, like, I guess I'm saying that before I've read it, but. I mean, I have
a lot of faith in Aaron myself.
I don't think it makes any sense to immediately go, oh, Marvel's just doing this in order to get a bunch of publicity or to like rock the boat or something. I don't think Marvel really expected the media to jump on this and lose their minds over it like they did. And also, why do non-comic book people think that comic book stuff sticks? Like, why do they think that as soon as something like this happens or a character dies, that it's newsworthy? 6 months from now, it's not going to look like that anymore. You really think that that Thor is still going to be a woman when Age of Ultron comes out? You're crazy. They're not going to do that. They're going to make the status quo look as close to that movie as possible right when that movie's coming out. That's how they always handle it. So I mean, like, just like, give it a chance, read it first, see what it looks like. And even if you think it's a really bad idea, don't assume stuff. And again, I'm not talking to this guy asking this question, but I've heard so many people complain about it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just like, Jason Aaron has gone on record to say that this was his idea. He came up with this. He pitched to Marvel, and they said he could do it. It wasn't Marvel assigning him, okay, we really need more female characters. We don't have enough female characters. They've got like 5 or 6 female titles right now. So anyway, give it a shot, guys, because I would be very surprised if it wasn't at least pretty good. Because everything he's done on Thor has been remarkable so far, especially the God Butcher. Oh my God, good stuff. But I mean, he's tackled religion, and he's tackled environmental stuff, and big business screwing up the earth for their own gain. Or should we be surprised the next thing he's going to tackle is gender roles? No.
And, I mean, Aaron has a good track record with most of his projects. I mean, there's only been a couple things that I've read that I wasn't in love with. I mean, and there's a difference between saying I didn't like this and saying I didn't like this as much as the other thing you did, but it was still okay. So, have a little faith. Give it a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, so yeah, I didn't mean to get heated about that, but I haven't had a chance to come out and say anything about that
yet. Get your soapbox off it.
But anyway, just to answer the question, will it work? Yeah, probably. I mean, you know, it's Aaron. Once again, Johnny 5, don't feel like I was attacking you personally. I wasn't. I just wanted to take this moment to say, come on, guys, just give it a shot. It's gonna be okay.
I think most comic book readers look at that news and they go, huh, that's interesting. And then, as you said, everybody else outside of it's like, what? How can this be? You mean Superman's gonna die?
I mean, I've even heard some fans kind of freak out about it, where it's like, where they immediately see it as, oh, they're overcompensating because comics have a reputation for not handling women right, or for not having enough female characters and stuff. But I just don't think it's fair to assume that that's why it's being done, especially because it really was Jason Aaron's idea, and it wasn't just Marvel coming to him to do a thing. So anyway, Bobby Floyd, are you going to do reviews on the Planet of the Apes series? Yeah, probably now. Yeah, if it's officially requested on Rewind United, I will probably do it. Well, if it's officially requested, I will do it because yeah, if somebody comes to me and wants to make a donation and ask for that, I will do that. But
so join Geeks United and ask for Planet of the Apes. Well, a specific Planet of the Apes, and you'll get that one.
666 Deadman 1988. Hey, Cap and Vince, what major story arc do you think Marvel Studios will tackle once Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet stuff is concluded? Also, what new characters would best serve those stories if they were to be done? Well, yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, what other big, huge, major story arcs and stuff?
I'm gonna say Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come? Yeah, probably not, Vince. That's a DC thing, dude.
I don't understand what your problem is with Kingdom Come, sir.
No, I like Kingdom Come. But I think that's maybe the next thing that DC does.
Oh, Fooey and Pshaw.
I don't know. I mean, Infinity Gauntlet is just it's such the obvious place to go with a like throwing everybody together kind of thing. I would, because we got Winter Soldier and because that is such a recent thing comparatively, expect something recent. Expect something really new, right? Expect like, I guess I don't know what exactly. Civil War, I think, is the obvious thing, and I've always said that. But I would be very surprised if they didn't do something really, really similar to and based on Civil War. That would be the thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, there are things in the past that they could go to if they wanted to keep with the whole blah 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 blah. What do you call that? Cosmic thing. They could go back and do the Korvac saga and blah blah whatnot. There's lots of stuff they could.
But again, they're much more likely to do something more recent, especially because they're bringing in like the oh, what are they called? The thing they're doing instead of mutants. The Inhumans.
Oh yeah.
And we just had Inhumanities, so I mean, like, I would expect maybe some stuff based a little bit loosely on some of that stuff, because they're making, you know, they're making certain characters in humans, or at least this has been the talk, because we can't do mutants in that universe, and that's how we're going to have that. So honestly, besides Civil War, I would really kind of expect whatever the next big, huge thing is to be based on source material from the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But how long ago
also
was
other
Civil War?
Ultimate stuff, probably.
Now.
Yeah, that was back in the mid-2000s. But the only reason I go to that one is because they have talked about that. And
especially
also,
with
that's
all the
another
infighting that was shown within Winter Soldier. I mean,
and Avengers.
That's a natural step. And I mean, I would almost say that you'd have to involve Hydra somehow.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I really want to see that. Civil War is the thing I really want them to do, because I love seeing things improved on. Civil War is a thing that I don't love, that is a good premise, but I thought people were out of character, and I just don't like how it was ultimately handled. Yeah. But I like sometimes seeing adaptations of things I didn't like done great. And I always go to Red Hood. Red Hood's one of my favorite things because I didn't like the comics that much. And then same guy comes in, makes it better. So cool. So like you know, adapt something and then improve on it instead of, because we always get this. I think a lot of the time we get this really silly notion that the comics are gold. That whatever the source material is, it's gold, and you can't deviate from it because it's perfect already. Like, just because it's source material, somehow it's like, it's perfect. That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, improve on it, especially when there's a lot of things that you know that actually need improvement. And again, I'm saying you know that's just my opinion on Civil War. I know some people like Civil War a lot more than I do. So, a couple of our store owners for the documentary events pointed to Civil War as their favorite event. I was really surprised by that.
Well, I feel like it was one of the earlier big events that got the ball rolling.
Yeah, well, it's one of the earlier events that got us going yearly. In fact, I think it's the event that after that we had to have them every year because it was so popular. There were plenty of events before that, but we didn't get them every single year. You know what I mean? So I mean, the first big one was Secret War, and then you know, and I mean that was back in the '80s.
You think they might do Fear Itself?
If they did, they could do something like Fear Itself. I don't know that Fear Itself was popular enough that they would even think to do it. But
I just know that
maybe
the whole
that's
Thor
interesting.
thing is ramping up right now. So.
That's a good point. But if they did it, the villain would have to be different, right? Because I mean, like, how would you even do Daughter of Red Skull? Like,
well, make it a chick.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, you're right. Well, and the thing is, of course, you're not going to get Hugo Weaving back now anyway, so yeah, okay, do a female Red Skull. And, yeah, actually, now that you're saying that, no, that could happen. That actually is very, very, very plausible. Let's do a couple more, Vince. That was a good question. Alex Milko. Hey, guys, I was wondering if Warner Brothers would consider using the actors from Flash and Arrow for the Justice League movie while keeping the universes separate. I love Arrow and don't want it tied into the movie universe, but at the same time, I can't see anyone else playing Green Arrow but Stephen Amell. Thank you. Well, if they recast Green Arrow, I would be kind of surprised if we got Green Arrow in the DC cinematic universe, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably just avoid certain characters. Flash, they're going to have to do because he's Flash. Green Arrow, I think they probably can pretty easily skip, especially because he's not in the 52 lineup, and they're probably going to want to go with something really close to that lineup. So they'll go Aquaman and they'll avoid Green Arrow. But even still, you're never going to see anything like that. Studios just aren't going to do that. I don't think. I don't think you're going to see like we keep the universes separate, but we use the same actor and kind of characterization. That just will confuse people. I don't see that kind of thing ever happening. Very wishful thinking kind of idea. I can see why you'd want it. On the other hand, and I love Steve Amell, and I'm with you. I think he's kind of the consummate Green Arrow now. But there are lots of different ways to do that character. I'd say do him older. You know what I mean? Like the first thing I'd say is cast somebody who's 10, 20 years older, and
or make him a little more swashbuckling than he is.
Absolutely,
I mean, make him a little more lighthearted, a little closer to some of the original source material. So, I mean, like I'm a little more familiar with people like Daredevil, but they had a similar metamorphosis over their career, where they because it's an actual person.
Yes, it is.
Where you have this lighthearted kind of jump around type of guy, and then you get more delve into the religion stuff. It gets darker and darker, and then do the same thing, just go in reverse.
Let's do one more, Vince. Let's do one more.
Sounds like a plan.
Emerald Guardian. Question. Answer. Do you think that readers should try to make the extra effort to read a novel in its respective accent? Example, should an American try to read a British novel with a British accent and vice versa? That's interesting. When I read novels that I know were are either written by British folks or more often set in another country where I know what the accent sounds like, yeah, I give those characters that voice in my head. I'm not necessarily reading it out loud in that voice, but I definitely get that in my head. And interestingly, of course, I'm a huge Hitchhiker fan, and when I read Hitchhiker, that's Douglas Adams. I'm a huge fan of the radio show, so I got those voices in my head while I'm reading it. And of course, there's a lot of narration in that, so the narration in that, I've got a Douglas Adams type voice kind of in my head for it. When I wrote my novel, in order to get in the spirit of that kind of absurd, quirky comedy, I actually tried to have a British voice in my mind as I was writing. That was a thing I did. So yes, I do this.
I'm with you. I can sort of do that. It just kind of depends. Like, it doesn't matter to me if it's written by a British person, but if it's set in England or if the character is specifically British, then I'll do that to me.
Well, if the language is especially English, though,
yeah,
it doesn't matter where it's set. To me, if it's a British writer and the language sounds really British, I can't read it in my head without an English accent. Yeah,
I have a little bit of a pet peeve with Hollywood, that apparently everybody who's European in movies has to have a British accent. At least once upon a time they did that. And,
oh yeah, they did. That's right.
And
Germans had British accents.
There's a comedian, Richard Jenny, who's
Die Hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't he supposed to be? Wasn't the villain in that Alan Rickman, and he was supposed to be German, but he was doing a British accent? Am I wrong?
I don't remember.
I thought he was supposed to be German. I haven't seen that in a long time, so I might be just saying stupid things right now.
But a terrific example.
I wish Sarah was down here.
Highlander. Sean Connery played a Spaniard.
How many people did Sean Connery play that were not supposed to be British that he had that accent, right?
Well, Scottish, right?
Or Scottish, rather. That's what I meant to say.
It's just insane to me they cast him, but whatever. And I didn't even like Highlander, so go ahead and send out your hate mail. I didn't like Highlander, but and I didn't like Highlander 2 either, so go ahead and agree with me on that one.
Yeah, right.
But I kind of get a pet peeve when they like really try to make the dialogue sound like, and they start like spelling things wrong. And now
I don't like phonetic writing.
Yes,
we've talked about that. I mean, like phonetic writing. First of all, it's just against modern convention, and I don't mean to be a prude about it. It's just there's a reason it's against modern convention. If you are, because I think a lot of people, we see this in comics all the time. It drives me crazy. A lot of people fall back on it. They try to use it as a crutch. And they go, my writing is great because I can phonetically get so close to an accent, and so look how natural this language is. Yeah, okay, but if I'm reading it and I have to stop every 3 words because I'm not sure what the word is, then that kind of kills that, right? Like it completely undermines what you're trying to do. The writing should just be good enough that the word choice, if you have enough knowledge about that part of the world, at least, invokes that voice in your head. That should be the rule. That's what I think.
I took a fiction writing course. Really? Do go on. I took a fiction writing course at Emporia State, and
what?
Because it's. I don't know. In my head, I was like, I took a fiction writing course. Like what? Like Cap didn't? I was like, no.
Oh, I thought you were talking about because that's what I think, and I thought you were responding to that and saying, really? Do go on.
And but I took this fiction writing course at Emporia State, and one of the assignments we had to do was an introduction to fiction writing. Was that we had to write in a particular dialect. Now it wasn't phonetic. The teacher specifically said to us, "Do not do phonetic dialect."
How many people in that class went phonetic?
Yep. And it was pretty early in my career.
Was I in that class?
No, it was at Emporia State.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emporia State.
And I was only there for 1 semester, and I took that class.
Hold on, I'm gonna put on my paying attention hat.
Hang on, I'm gonna put on my hat to where I can think about everybody with an Emporian accent.
Emporian. I always, whenever I'm writing Emporian people, I have a hard time not being phonetic.
Yeah. What? I enjoyed everything about that, but I just suddenly got lost in my own train of thought. I'm like, I have no idea where we're going with this.
Sorry, Vince, I'm wearing my paying attention hat, so go ahead, because I'm paying attention.
I'll get that fixed for you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I went phonetic because I just could not think of what they wanted at the time. And then after I turned the assignment in and somebody read it aloud, because apparently, I didn't know this, but somebody else was going to have to read this aloud in class, and I went, oh, crap.
That's awesome.
And so I handed it off to this girl sitting next to me, and I just made this face throughout the whole thing, and the teacher said, well, and I said, nah, I know. I screwed up. I got you. And then from then on, I went, well, this person's crafty. I guess I'm not going to try to get around that so I can continue reading my copious amounts of crap for my other classes.
Well, anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching the multi-topic extravaganza. We sure appreciate it. We're going to do at least one more of these because, wow, just keeps going.
Everywhere.
So we're going to do some more of these, and you can leave more questions, but we're probably not going to get to them this time. As I've said before, the place to leave those is the video that's in the description. But like I said, we're probably not going to get to those. So I can go back to that video though for the next one and pull back some of these older questions. Anyway, thanks for watching. We sure appreciate it, and we're loving the questions. Thanks so much. They're really great, and we will talk to you again next week. I'm Captain Logan,
and I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.
You should do that.
Indeed.
Yeah.